there could be something shady happening. We just don't know. And it's the same as in the FTX case, where we found out after the fact that they were selling Bitcoin that they didn't have. So it's possible, like some exchange and in some, the lesser known exchange is selling paper Bitcoin. And for some reason, there is not a run on that exchange yet. And that could contribute to this. The other theory is that it's simply OGs selling, but I don't know of any OGs that are selling, so it's difficult to really understand exactly what is going on. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility that there is some outright fraud and some exchanges taking advantage of this selling Bitcoin that does not exist.
Bitcoin's price should be soaring right now, but the fact that it's not has raised serious concerns. According to Jan3 CEO Samson Mouw, the market may be under some form of manipulation. Despite daily inflows in the hundreds of millions, Bitcoin's price action remains unusually flat. Mouw suggests there could be hidden fraud at play, similar to what happened with FTX, where Bitcoin was sold without ever being physically held. He warns that a lesser-known exchange might be selling paper Bitcoin, artificially increasing supply and suppressing the true market value. There's no on-chain evidence of major OG holders selling, and no large cold wallet outflows, so the most likely explanation, Mouw says, is that fake Bitcoin is being dumped to meet real demand. This distorts the market, misleads investors, and masks Bitcoin's actual scarcity. Until this false supply is uncovered and removed, Bitcoin's price may continue to underperform. Stick around until the end of the video as Samson Mouw breaks down exactly why Bitcoin's rally appears to be stalled, and where he believes it's headed next.
Our team members did some analysis, and 56% of all corporate Bitcoin buys happened in the last few months. So that's not an indication that we're going to stair step up. And if you look at strategy alone, their acquisition is accelerating. So I just can't see the stair step up. Stair step up is a graceful ascent, and it violates the principle of max pain theory, which is the thing that's most likely to happen is what inflicts the most pain on the most number of people. And that is that everyone misses the boat because they weren't paying attention, or they thought Bitcoin was expensive, or they just thought Bitcoin is going to go away. So stair step up means everyone has time to learn. They're going to watch as it goes up, a little bit every day, gradually for the next 21 years. And that's just unlikely in my book. It seems like we're reaching corporate FOMO, we're going to get nation state FOMO, and then retail FOMO. And all of that's going to mean a very steep adoption curve. I think the rapid repricing is just waiting right now to happen. You have the ETFs, which eliminate all the barriers to Bitcoin acquisition. In previous cycles, you always had a bottleneck with exchanges onboarding people and companies, right? They would just get bottlenecked for months. But with the ETFs, that bottleneck is gone. It's just money will flow in anytime. It's like a portal to TradFi money. And then you have the demand from all the corporations. You have nation states starting to line up and go through their own processes to allow for accumulation. So all of that combined with the current financial system and all of the money printing from past decades, more pertinently probably from the last 5 years, is all coming to a head. So even without the big beautiful bill, Bitcoin will explode to the upside. But the big beautiful bill just guarantees it, in fact. So nothing really stops the train, in the words of Lynn Alden. So yeah, I think the big beautiful bill should open some more eyes and accelerate the takeoff or the liftoff of the Bitcoin rocket. Because if you look at what Ray Dalio is posting, 7 trillion a year translates to about 64 million BTC. So 3-ish Bitcoin networks are going to be spent per year. So you can kind of figure out and reason out that Bitcoin is cheap right now. The question is, how fast can governments move? And the answer is not that fast. So even if you look at cities, the speed at which a city can adopt a Bitcoin treasury is slow too. The city of Vancouver is looking towards that. The Mayor Ken Sim has been pushing for the city to adopt, but it'll take maybe another 8 to 12 months of research, presentations to the board, and then possibly passing some bylaws or whatnot to allow them to have Bitcoin in a treasury. And this is a lot of red tape to cross. And it's the same for countries, if not worse. I think we hit hyper-Bitcoinization somewhere at 0.5 million a coin, and we start devaluing gold and or demonetizing gold and real estate, which are both massive chunks of the global wealth. And Bitcoin goes up very quickly to 1 million, 2, 3, and at that point, nobody will take dollars for payment. So you won't be able to buy a TV or a car with fiat money. They'll say, oh, we want Bitcoin. And what it looks like for the average person is that they'll just be paid in sats. So you'll be earning, 20 sats an hour for minimum wage or something like that. You just have more and more companies saying, we're buying Bitcoin, and you don't really know if they understand Bitcoin, right? They may just be following a trend. And you can see the degeneration of that trend too with things like Solana and Ripple treasury companies now too. Like, that's not going to end well, guaranteed. But my concern is like a lot of these companies with people you never know of just saying we're buying Bitcoin. If they don't understand what it is they bought and why Bitcoin is valuable, they're probably going to fold. Or they haven't spent the effort to convince their board to get on board, no pun intended. And they might get pressure from their board to sell when the price goes down a bit. I know one of the big things Michael Saylor did was he spent time educating the strategy board on Bitcoin. So even when there was a downturn, we had a bear market and we went down to like 16K. Strategy was holding through that. So they're able to withstand it because they understood, and Michael understood it, of course. And I think that is something that we have not seen with a lot of the copycats. Just
according to Samson Mouw, Bitcoin isn't going to climb gradually, it's going to erupt, and most people will miss the move. Over half of all corporate Bitcoin purchases have occurred in just the past few months, and MicroStrategy is only accelerating its buying spree. With ETFs breaking down traditional barriers and even nation-states beginning to get involved, the stage is set for a rapid, dramatic surge. Mouw argues that a slow, steady rise goes against the Max Payne theory. The real breakout, he says, will be sudden and unforgiving. Bitcoin will reprice quickly, and anyone waiting on the sidelines for a better entry point may be left behind.
You may be able to produce the proof of reserves that they have this and it's with Coinbase, but you don't know the full story of if there's rehypothecation or if there's some other deals or there's some claim on their Bitcoin. And yeah, I mean, if every single one did publish the proof of reserves, I think the clarity of the situation would be very much improved. But then you kind of need everyone to do it, so you know that no one's double claiming Bitcoin to be held as theirs. I still remember when we hit 16K, I texted Michael and I said, are you okay? Do you want to talk? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. So, there's confidence in Strategy's ability to weather these dips if there are more dips in the future. The shifts that we've seen in corporate adoption and the traditional market. So Bitcoin is now far more accessible in traditional stocks, and they have a large lead on tokenized stocks because they're getting easier and easier to trade. The windows of trading times are increasing, and a lot of the more traditional exchanges are looking at ways to tokenize so that they can get fully 24/7 and potentially bearer trading, which I think was the promise of securities, tokenized securities. But yeah, it's interesting to see the route that things have gone. I think Bitfinex Securities has played a large role in driving the tokenized securities narrative, and most of their offerings are on the Liquid network. And in fact, I think almost all of them are. But I believe we're lacking some larger issuances that can drive more attention, because it's like tokenized securities are the worst of both worlds. You have to deal with the bearer aspect of it, and you have less liquidity than the traditional market. So there has to be some big draw to it. And originally I was thinking Bitcoin bonds issued by sovereign states could be a big driver, because you'll have a large pool of liquidity if there's a number of bonds issued, like billions of dollars of liquidity, and interest because it is Bitcoin backed. So basically Bitcoin bonds could have been like strategy if they were executed on in 2022 or 2023. But I think that ship has sailed, and a lot of the interest now has shifted over to strategy and its preferred stock offering. So the market for tokenized securities has changed a lot. And then, like you mentioned, you have Robinhood, and they're trying things on Solana and everything like that. But you can see the same thing. They're looking for stocks that people want exposure to, like OpenAI and SpaceX. But I think the key is to find a draw. But I'm still bullish on liquid for tokenized securities. And I think one thing that could be interesting is tokenization of all the Bitcoin treasury companies, which has already happened. So there's CMSTR, and there is, I think, tokenized H100 as well. I'm not sure about AltBG, but Stoker, which is a Liquid member, they've been working with a large number of companies to tokenize these. So if there is enough demand for exposure to these tokenized stocks, then I think a marketplace like Bitfinex Securities or others could come up and allow for trading of those. So you might see it blow up in the future.
Here's Samson Mouw's latest take on Bitcoin, and it comes with a strong warning. He cautions that even proof of reserves isn't enough if investors can't see the full picture. Some firms may say their Bitcoin is held with trusted custodians like Coinbase, but that doesn't eliminate the risks of rehypothecation or hidden claims. Unless every investor verifies actual holdings, the threat of double counting remains very real. Mouw also praises MicroStrategy's unwavering stance, noting that the company has weathered major downturns thanks to a leadership team that truly understands Bitcoin's long-term value. That level of conviction, he says, is rare, especially among companies jumping into Bitcoin just to ride the trend. On the tokenization front, Mouw remains bullish about the Liquid network and platforms like Bitfinex Securities, which enable trading of tokenized stocks and Bitcoin-backed securities. However, he admits the sector hasn't reached critical momentum yet, mainly due to low liquidity and limited mainstream interest compared to traditional markets. For tokenization to truly take off, Mouw believes it must be tied to real-world demand and solid underlying value. Until then, his focus remains on what's proven: conviction, transparency, and Bitcoin itself. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.